Computing volume now.
Hey, hold on there. I gotta sign you in. Don't think I've seen you around. That means you must be new to Stellar Bay. You are new here, right? You must have seen those UDL gunships on your way in. There's only 3 of them these days. Still, they tend to scare folk off. You may not have heard, you being new, but Stellar Bay hardly ever gets off-road traffic. Us being cut off by the board and all. Which means I never get to do this part, but I've been practicing, so here goes. On behalf of Monarch Stellar Industries, welcome to Stellar Bay, home of the freshest sal tuna in Halcyon. Please state your name for the records. Swell. There's one for the logs. I'm even gonna give you your own entry code. I'm not supposed to do that, it's against procedure, but Mr. Sanjar isn't so strict about the rules here. Besides, I got a lot of empty entries to fill. We don't get ship traffic in town. Only off-worlders who do make it out here are sublight. They got a base in Fallbrook. And thank the stars for them, or we would have run out of Rizzo's Purple Berry Crunch years ago. Oh, that'll just make Mr. Sanjar's day if you tell him. The board makes up lots of nasty stories about raptidons and cannibals and whatnot. But that's all outside our walls. Mostly. Oh, sure. They make Stellar Bay sound like a rotten place, but it's not so bad. Get a good breeze going, and the sulfur smell mostly covers up the fishy smell.
Ah, the nostalgic stench of home. Can't say I miss the day-to-day of living in Edgewater.
Anyway, Mr. Sanjar's got lots to say on that subject. Kinda goes over my head, though. Mr. Sanjar will be mighty pleased to meet you. If you see him over at headquarters, maybe you could tell him I did a bang-up job of welcoming you? Oh, and if you're headed that way, maybe you could do me a favor? I got this Rizzo's Rangers tossball poster coming in on the next sublight shipment, signed by the Black Hole himself. Only I haven't heard anything in a while. You think you could check with Celia to see if it's come in? That's Bertie Holcomb, only one of the greatest tossball hackers ever.
I wonder if he's kin. Dad had family that worked for Rizzo's. I never got to meet them.
Everyone's heard of him, even on Monarch. We still get some of the games. You been living in a sulfur pit or something? Oh, you're real funny. Guess I don't feel so bad for missing what goes on in the rest of Stellar Bay. I couldn't really say, I'm just a fan of the game. But the fancy collector types say the more people see these things, the less valuable they are. And I figure my poster's been passed around by more than a few people by now. Thanks a bunch. Celia works for Mr. Sanjar in the MSI building next to the bar. She's always there, so you can't miss her.
Wouldn't mind smelling like salt tuna if we could sell more of it.
Got any news from the rest of Halcyon?
What are the chances of all the times and places we could have been born?
Yeah.
We're here, light years from Earth, going about our lives.
Every time the punch clock peals, a worker earns his meals.
What are you talking about?
Sorry, I thought you were quoting It's a Wonderful Directorate.
Well, well. Isn't often we see new folk in Stellar Bay. First drink's on me, stranger. Enjoy. If you plan on sitting through Nyoka's stories, you might could use a few.
I could use a few and telling them myself.
Now what can I do for you? Anyone who spends any amount of time in this bar is bound to get to know Nyoka, on account of her being here so often herself. And I don't mean that unkindly. Anyone who's rid us of as many beasts as you have is entitled to a few drinks. Something else I can do for you? Not since Amber Heights. These days we have more leaving than coming. Off to join the Iconoclasts or some such. Thought it had a fancy ring to it. Name's the first advertising anyone sees, after all. Nope, but a man can dream.
And the little bastard's slippery, right? On account of its blood, so it's sliding. All over the place, trying to crawl away. Getting so I can't tell the blood from the mud. Don't interrupt, it's rude. But I gotta get in there, get right in that baby rap's stomach and dig it out. If so much as a drop of stomach acid got on that medallion, shit, I don't know what I'd do. Might be I'd hunt every damn wrapped out there. Right. What are you staring? Wait. You ain't from around here. Who are you? Ooh, charmer. Don't get a lot of that around here. Folks mostly grump at me about how I should join the MSI payroll. Nice change of pace. Buy me a drink, will you? Outstanding! What are you doing in Stellar Bay, stranger? Well. Let's get down to brass nuts then, shall we? Wait, that ain't it. Brass rats? Let's talk business. I'm headed back out there after I sober up. You want a guide sooner than that? You have to get me something to clear my head. Outstanding! Our dispensary here maintains a stock of, well, I don't rightly know what they are. Steroid or caffeine somethings? Pills. They're very good. I'm cut off for the month, on account of needing one just about every damn day. But I'm sure you've got your wily ways. Fetch me one and we'll be all set. Well, they work. We got a deal or what?
Could I get another advance, Mr. Nandi?
Just make sure it's properly logged.
I'll note it next to the others, sir. Greetings, and welcome to Monarch Stellar Industries,
producers and purveyors of the finest salt tuna in Halcyon. What can I do for you today?
Or is he not paying you on account of how he tried to fix the thing his own self and busted it even worse, and then said you wasn't fixing it fast enough, so he's docking your wages again? Not that I got any prior experience with such.
Not at all. Mr. Nandi treats us all right and pays us well. I just spent most of my paycheck on Raptidon acid. Laws, no. Sometimes it's canid teeth, or mantis worm wings. Whatever Sebastian has in stock, really. So I can talk to him, of course. He doesn't get going about much else.
I reckon she's got a little bit of a squish on this fella.
He's sort of the strong, silent type. Unfortunately, my apartment's kind of filling up with his stuff, and some of the neighbors are complaining about the smell. I couldn't! What if he says no? Hey, maybe you could ask him for me. I mean, a no would still be bad, but it won't be quite as embarrassing if you ask. Oh, Mr. Nandi's doing that thing where he breathes through his nose real slowly. I'd better get back to work. He doesn't talk much, but he's got this quiet intensity, you know? Like there's stuff going on inside his head that you have no idea about. Plus, he's got great legs. It's hard to find a man who doesn't skimp on lower body exercises. You think that's what I'm looking for? You're funny. Not in Stellar Bay. Everyone else who isn't taken either smells like salt tuna or they're my boss. Besides, a man with a good smile and a proportionate upper to lower body ratio isn't something to pass up. Sorry, sometimes I get carried away.
Well, new business turns up at last. Celia, didn't I tell you our new statistics-based advertising model would be a hit?
That you did, sir.
How can yield improvements of 26.7% not quicken the pulse? How can 32% cost savings not moisten the loins?
You've often posed these very questions.
Clear my schedule. This newcomer has a meeting with me. Did you hear that power play, Celia? They don't make them like this anymore in Halcyon. I only hope you don't judge me by my handshake. Now, what business brings you here? Hiram? Why, he's probably still out at Devil's Peak. Not that he's had the courtesy to notify me, at any rate. But if you're here for him, I suppose that means you aren't here for salt tuna. Now, there's no need to humor me. I'm used to this particular letdown.
Seems like you're having a rough time, Mr. Sanjar. Are you doing quite all right?
Oh, don't worry on my account. This is merely the latest in a long line of professional erotic and athletic disappointments. I had hoped that livening up our advertisements with enticing figures would draw the other corporations back to our bosom, but it seems we're back to the drawing board.
MSI keeps the fishery running and the walls intact.
Understood. I'll keep my head down.
Have you talked... You know, sending you is the first bright idea I've seen from that man, because I told him to stop bothering me about it a week ago. I still don't know anything about it, but if you want to help him, Velma's the one to ask. She's in the warehouse. But I'll warn you, Grimm wore her patience thin a long time ago. Oh, have you talked to him?
Velma seem out of sorts to you?
You're probably looking for Velma. Watch out. She's in a mood. If you want to talk to the boss, she's in the back of the warehouse.
Look, you can tell Catherine the new shipment will be ready when it's ready, all right? She's welcome to come up here and pack boxes herself if she's in such a hurry. Did she now? Well, I can see I was mistaken. Because if Catherine really had sent you, there'd be a lot more expletives in your message. I hope you can forgive my temper. This job has been running me ragged lately. First, my autoloader foreman stages a walkout, and now my chief pescatological health manager is missing. Braxton. He's in charge of getting the fish fat, but also making sure they don't get too many tumors. He's a real wizard with pharmaceuticals, but he has creative notions of working hours. Comes with living in a free colony, I guess. I can't keep working double shifts either. Since you don't seem to be constrained yourself, maybe you could check up on him. He lives in the apartments. Tell him Velma said to get his lazy ass down here, or she might start noticing those extra jugs he's been taking from supply. Something else on your mind? This again? I swear, this is the last time I contract for any special requests. You can tell Grimm his poster came in. You can also tell him I got a better offer for it. So now it's going to Nell. That about cover it? She runs the betting parlor across the way. Nice professional lady. She asked me about the poster once. Just once. Made a real generous offer, too. Damn right it is. It's staying locked up in my office until Nell shows with her money. No. I paid Sublight for it. So, it's mine. And when Nell pays me for it, it'll be hers. Grimm may have asked for the poster, but it's not his until I take his money. Sure can. If you want to pay me more than Nell's offering. Sure. And once you finish helping me, then we can talk about the poster. Fine by me. Sure can. I got a feeling you and Catherine would get on like tumors on a pig. Take the poster then. And if I never hear another word about it, it'll be too soon. Caleb Herrick runs the autoloader operators. He thinks I don't pay them enough for flipping switches and turning dials.
So the job's easy, but you're not doing it? Something smells here. I mean, everything smells in here, but something's fishy. Wait.
He and his whole crew walked out. Say they won't come back unless I pay them more. You mind slapping him around a little while you're at it? I'm joking. Mostly. Unless you can do it without hurting his job performance. If you can find a way to get him back to work, I'll make it worth your while. Check the yacht club. He's usually there. Unless you're here to tell me he's agreed to do his job again, I've got nothing to say. I don't have the bits for it, plain and simple. Besides, if I make an exception for him, I gotta do the same for everyone.
She's principled, in at least this area. I will begrudgingly give her that.
Thank you. I think. If Caleb wants to keep this job, he'd better get back to it. I'm about ready to hire sublight contractors at this rate. Maybe so, but I bet you Caleb runs out of bits first. Then he'll have to come back. He says he's got a stash to tide his crew over. Could be he's all talk, but if the money's real, I bet you he keeps it at home. Near the diner.
You'd steal from your own people? That's low, ma'am.
That's business. Someone's got to keep the lights on. For running me ragged while he takes an extended leave at the bar? Not on your life. Fine by me. Stealing's such a nasty word. Let's call it skimming. And yeah, let's just say I've noticed the sterile biotics we use for the fish would get used a little faster on Braxton's shifts. We're not like those corporate towns where you get fined for sleeping on the wrong side of the bed. Besides, the Spacer's Choice stuff we use is cheap enough. And Braxton knows how to get the salt tuna, fat, and mostly tumor-free. Hard workers? They turn dials and flip switches. The machines do all the actual work.
I'll wager she don't pay those folks that maintain the mechanicals decent neither.
Caleb and his crew have it better than anyone else around here, I'll tell you that much. Fine. Sublight boss out of Fallbrook. Handles most goods that come in or out of Stellar Bay. Has a mouth like a Ground 6 spacer.
Left hands, Cap.
Have you had time to check on that poster yet? I keep wondering if it's come in. Sorry, I just get so excited, and I always feel like I miss everything that happens in town while I'm up here. Would you look at that? The Rizzo's logo is nice and bright, and you can still smell the ink on Mr. Holcomb's signature. I can't thank you enough. Still, you can have the bits I was going to spend at the bar this week. And you know what? Take my old tossball blocker too. Never get the chance to use it these days.
Smells like wrapped in here. Oh, it does work.
Hello, dearie. Why, I don't believe I've seen you before. And with sweet cheeks like those, I'd remember. What can Auntie Abigail do for you? And what a helpful young man you are. Nothing like a little pill to liven up the spirits. Who's your lucky friend, dearie? I'm so sorry, but with the iconoclasts and the marauder filth chasing away what little trade we get, I'm afraid I have to reserve my supply for Stellar Bay residents. Our reserves have gotten so low, I've even had to start locking the supply room upstairs. Isn't it a shame what some people will do to get a little extra? Isn't it just? I'd make an exception for you if I could, my little cherub. Is there anyone else needing a special pickup from Auntie Abigail? Oh, her. It's none of my business, but I have told her Dr. Williams would bump up her monthly allotment if only she'd join MSI. Contribute like the rest of us. Now I've gone and said too much. And you know me, dearie. I don't like to pry. I'm afraid it'll be the better part of a month. Our dear Nyoka tends to exhaust her supply rather quickly. Believe me, there's nothing I'd love better than to help you. But there's not much I can do. Dr. Williams managed the town's allotments from his terminal upstairs. Even I can't access them. Oh, you flatter an old woman. Me, I'm just here to be a pretty face for the customers. And to keep an extra key to the supply room, for all the times Dr. Williams misplaced his. The one upstairs, where we store our medicines. In the town graveyard, I'm afraid. Poor man was always searching for the flower of enlightenment. On the way, he tried some rather daring substance combinations. The graveyard's near the southern ruins. You're certainly welcome to pay our respects, but the bodies tend to attract beasties. Do be careful. I'd hate for anything to happen to you, dearie. Chin up, dearie.
Wrapped mask and painted eyes, right here.
Sir, please, Oh, thank you for stopping. Everyone acts like nothing's wrong, like my little boy isn't at risk of being eaten by some vile creature. Please, you have to help me get my little Tucker back. He ran away and is going to get himself killed. Oh, I just know a raptidon is melting him with acid as we speak. Oh, I just knew you were a good person. Agnes, I said, this is the man to save your little Tucky. And I was right. He ran out into the wilderness a few days ago. I warned him about the raptidons, mantisaurs, and marauders, the toxic sulfur pools, and poisonous glands, but he didn't listen.
Oh, law, Captain. A youngster won't last long in a place like this. Please, can't we help?
Please, won't you go and find my boy? Well, I guess I can't ask you to leave the town walls for free. It is deathly dangerous out there. I've got some bits saved up for a rainy day. I'll give you every last one if you just bring my Tucker back to me. I won't even be mad at him running off. You tell him I won't be mad. He's been pining for an adventure. Says he's tired of living cooped up behind the walls. But he doesn't understand how dangerous it is out there. I warned him. A raptidon would snap him up first chance it got. I just know one's ripped his arm off and is gnawing on his sweet little fingers. He should have listened to his mama. I promised I'd keep him safe here with me. He's been listening to those awful broadcasts that the iconoclasts put out. I begged Sanjar to put a stop to them, but did he? No! And now I just know my boy's run off to Amber Heights. That is, if a mantiqueen hasn't spooled out and eaten his entrails for breakfast already! Those low-life degenerates, leading innocent boys into a life of danger. Oh, they make it sound so exciting. Like it's noble to risk it all out there, fighting for the greater good. How noble is it to worry your loved ones? Not at all, I say. But still they preach their sermons of anarchy and rebellion to anyone who listened. If they weren't holed up in Amber Heights, I'd knock them all upside the head. That old settlement, southwest of Stellar Bay. I don't know which is worse, the thought of my son shacking up with the nutty iconoclasts. Or that he never made it. Sprats could be nesting in his rotting body alongside the road as we speak. Or maybe marauders got him, pulled all his teeth out, crushed him into their drugs and made him snort them. Oh, the things that could happen to my sweet baby. Thank you. Oh, I know he'll be safe now that someone's able to fetch him home. You look for him in Amber Heights, you hear? It's down the road southwest of town. I'm sure he made it that far. I just know it. And if you find any of them iconoclasts indoctrinating my boy, you punch them in the mouths. Tell them what I think of them luring little boys away from their mamas. It's immoral.
You don't look like Sublight. Must be freelance.
Well, well. The only new folk I ever see in town are sublight runners from Fallbrook. But you don't look like one of Catherine's. What can I get you? All sales are final, unless you threaten me. I'm kidding. Don't threaten me.
Help! Someone's been killed! I think I'm gonna be sick. I clean the apartments while everyone's at work. I've seen all sorts of messes, but this... If you're going into the apartments, do not go into the lower one on the right. That's where the body is. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to go contemplate a hot shower.
Oh, sorry. Just spooked me, was all.
What a gruesome way to die.
Got any news from the rest of Halcyon? Whatever you do, don't mention Tossball to Isaac. You'll never hear the end of it.
You know, I haven't seen him in a while.
If you'd gotten stuck in an hour-long rant about mostly colonists, you'd be thankful. Hey, I saw that. Hey, that's against regulation. What's that smell coming out of Celia's apartment?
You startled me. Don't sneak up on a person like that.
Got any news from the rest of Halcyon?
We don't get many outsiders.
They don't look like sublight. Must be freelance. Good day to you. Good day to you.
Whoa, by the stars, my poor heart. I just about pissed my jumps. Most people don't. Besides, This place is enough to try anyone's nerve. Where should I begin? With the oversized mantisaurs? Or perhaps the rap spewing acid at our walls? The board was right. This place isn't fit for human habitation, and I was a fool for staying. That was a real popular meal 10, 20 years back, before the board tucked tail and ran. These days, everybody's had a belly full of salt tuna. They all want borscht. And the mushrooms, well, not many venture out of town, what with the monsters hereabouts. I can whip one up for you, but it'll cost.
Oh, yikes. I can't cover this much, Captain. What? No, Captain, I don't want you to do it this way.
It's all right, miss. I'm a coward at heart. Made that clear from the outset. Look, Captain, this is the best I can do without putting myself out of business. I'm mighty glad you reckon so. This is gonna take about an hour in the oven. Nothing I can do to speed it. That's just how cooking works. There we are. Now, if you don't mind, I really need to take a leak.
My belly's gurgling just to smell it, Mr. Raymond. Thank you so much.
A pleasure to help such a charming young lady. You're a gentle soul, miss. Be careful with this one, all right? He's kind of a brute.
Oh, gosh. My tongue's rumbling just smelling that casserole.
Sanjar, of course. He had all these glorious ideas about how he'd run Monarch. Rest periods between every work shift. No shift more than 10 hours long. It all sounds wonderful, until you realize there's only a few centimeters of repurposed steel between you and the deadliest creatures in the galaxy. I could do with a few kilometers of cold vacuum, but that spaceship is flown. Only every day. But in case you haven't noticed, we don't exactly get ships on a regular basis, yours notwithstanding. And even if I did scrape together enough to buy passage out with sublight, which would mean reaching Fallbrook without getting eaten, shot, or dissolved into green goop, what then? Well, thank you for reminding me. As if I weren't already destined for an early grave.
That's against regulation!
Oh, you're the new face. Wow, you must be up on all the latest tossball games. So who do you follow? Wait, don't tell me. You look like a Hammersmith Thunder fan. No, Glacial H Mammoths. I'd heard they'd gotten a new hacker. Is that why everyone's making such a fuss about you? But what are you doing on Monarch? Ha! Maybe we're not so isolated as I thought. So, what can I do for you? Poor Isaac. I was wondering why I hadn't seen him in a few days. I'd really like to help. Isaac was a sweet fellow, even if he did have terrible teeth. I don't know for sure, but I saw Elijah and his buddies pushing Isaac around. They're hooligans from Fallbrook. They sweep into town, drop supplies off behind the warehouse, and spend the rest of their stay getting rowdy over tossball games. They usually loiter in the alley behind the yacht club. They're not allowed in the bar anymore. I bet you anything Isaac ran into trouble with one of them. Mr. Sanjar will be pleased to hear about it when you're done. I know he gets fed up with the Fallbrook bullies, but there's not much he can do. Here to catch... Okay. Graham's always filling the airwaves with this propaganda. Like it's done him in. All it means is the tossball games get to us in fragments. Makes them real hard to watch.
Got any news from the rest of Halcyon?
I hear those rich people in Byzantium pay a handsome bit for rap musk.
I wonder sometimes what they're doing on other colonies.
Uh-huh.
Think they're watching the same serials, following the same tossball?
Who wants to play an impromptu tossball match? No one?
Hello, stranger. Can I interest you in a raptidon tongue? Or maybe some cake? You look like a man who's looking for some mostly fresh animal. Huh. I haven't seen her in a few days, but I've been meaning to ask her how that raptidon acid is working out. I hope it's working okay, because no one else really seems interested in this stuff. Wait, I see what's going on. She put you up to this so she could get a discount, hmm?
Oh, no, that's not it at all. She's smitten with you. You smited her. Smote? Smoot?
Don't get me wrong. I'd like to give her a discount. She's a real fine lady. Always talks nice and slow, so I understand. But if I give her one, I won't hardly make a bit, on account of no one else having any use for raptidon tongues. You sound pretty sure. And she is awful nice.
Give her a chance. Give yourself a chance. Take her someplace nice.
Okay, I'll do it. Once her shift ends, we'll go someplace nice. Maybe to Chef Raymond's.
That's the spirit, Sebastian. Be yourself. Between you and me, Captain, I'm not sure Miss Celia knows him too well. But we can hope, right? I want them to be happy.
You look like a man who's looking for... I don't know. Celia usually buys whatever I have, and Mr. Pickett seemed real interested. So I thought maybe I was onto something.
Mr. Pickett? Franklin Pickett from Edgewater?
That's him. He'd been here years, but he always talked about going back to Edgewater one day.
Sure. Mr. Pickett used to run the community center outside Edgewater. He had this grand idea to make it a museum for halcyon life. As my dad told it, Mr. Pickett was always going on about getting a manta queen for the last display. He left the Vale, gosh, years ago.
He came to Stellar Bay years ago, just before the board cut us off. Ended up stuck here. He was always real interested in our monsters. Manta queens, especially. Sure, they're real big. Hard to miss them. Well, I could send you to the same place I sent Mr. Pickett. But I haven't seen him in a few weeks. To tell true, I'm starting to get a bit worried about him.
Captain, can we look for him? I'd feel awful if somebody from home was in trouble and we didn't do nothing.
Tell you what, I'll tell you where I sent Mr. Pickett if you promise to look for him. Help him out if he's got himself in trouble. Fair deal? All right then. Leave town through the southern gate, the one right here, and head past the abandoned ruin. Last Mannequin I saw was in the wilds out that-a-ways. Could be Mr. Pickett still out there, too. Yep.
Hey, that's against regulation!
This is the simple truth. We are all molecular machines.
Hey! What are you doing here? This is our secret alley. Berta already pissed by those crates to market. Listen, that purple-toothed twerp had it coming. Not that anyone has proof. And not that it's any of your business. Oh yeah? What are you saying exactly? Wow. Most of the pencil pushers around here cave as soon as you look at them funny. Fine, we're going. This ain't worth it.
This is the simple truth. We are all molecular machines.
A fine day for business, isn't it? Anyway. But that's terrible. What happened? I'm glad to hear you've dealt with them. They've been causing quite a bit of trouble around town. I've been consumed with other matters of late, but I would have dealt with them. Eventually. Of course I would have. Still, your intervention in the matter is much appreciated. Please consider this payment for your services.
Velma seem out of sorts to you? She's always cranky.
We're not used to outside help around here.